Friday, July 26th, and this is Friday 5 at 5 with the Denver Public Library. My name is Dodie. I'm a librarian at DPL's Central Library, and in 15 minutes or less, we'll have you up to speed on 5 new titles out this month that we can't wait for you to read or listen to. Please note that new titles may not be added to Overdrive until after publication date, so if you don't see titles in ebook or e-audio format, please check back. Do you know about DPL's What We're Watching movie series? On Sunday, August 18th, join film professor John Azalone virtually at 1 p.m. for an in-depth look at The Sixth Sense, directed by M. Night Shyamalan. Starring Bruce Willis as a child psychologist and Haley Joel Osment as his patient with a dark secret. He can see dead people. Watch this thrilling movie with your library card on DPL DVD and then join in the discussion. What We're Watching recommendations from participants will also be shared after the discussion. In September, What We're Watching will be discussing Fritz Lang's Metropolis. Link below for more information and optional registration. At long last, word is out that the Central Branch will finally be reopening in November. Very soon, you will be able to explore Central and celebrate the completion of our major renovation. The renovation was made possible thanks to funding from the 2017 Elevate Denver Bond, Denver's Capital Improvement Fund, and the Denver Public Library Friends Foundation, and Strong Library, Strong Denver, supported by the DPL Fund. There will be a new teen space, pictured here, along with many improvements to the building, including 12 new meeting spaces. Keep an eye on the Explore Central Updates page, link below, for more reopening information. On to the books. Canadian actor Keanu Reeves publishes his first novel this year, The Book of Elsewhere, in collaboration with British author China Miéville. Their joint novel is titled The Book of Elsewhere and is set in the world of the Berserker comic book series created by Reeves, first published in 2021. It follows an immortal warrior on a millennia-long journey to understand his immortality. This immortal warrior is Unut, also known as B, who periodically loses his supernatural powers only to be reborn out of a large egg and is eager to finally die. Diana Ahu, who works with the unit, investigates Unut's connection with the Life Project, a shadowy organization premised on the idea that society needs to be weaned off its addiction to death. In a collaboration that combines Miéville's singular style and creativity with Reeves' haunting and soul-stirring narrative, these two inimitable artists have created something utterly unique. Some early reviews call the story epic and mind-blowing, while others cite it as tedious. You, dear readers, will have to decide. Smoke and Summons by Charlie Holmberg is the first title in her Numina series and features Sandus, who at 14 was picked up by grafters and taken to live below the city to work for Kazan, a ruthless criminal. Readers will root for this enslaved woman fleeing for her life who must work with a jaded thief to keep her freedom in this enthralling fantasy. A collaboration between Cyn Blanchet and Helen MacDonald, Prophet is an intriguing and deftly plotted hybrid of dystopian, sci-fi, medical thriller, and queer romance. Chaotic, irreverent Sunil Rao, an ex-MI6 agent, plucked from jail for the assignment, and cool, analytical, ultra-orderly Adam Rubinstein, an American intelligence officer, have worked together before under extremely trying circumstances. And when a bizarre series of events unfolds at a U.S. airbase in Britain, culminating in the sudden appearance in the countryside of a full-size generic American diner, the two are reunited to investigate. Introverts, take note. Shy by Design, 12 Timeless Principles to Quietly Stand Out by Michael Thompson is a work of love and authenticity. Packed with actionable strategies and engaging stories, this transformative book will help readers embrace the blessing of being underestimated, revolutionize your relationships, and amplify your impact without sacrificing your shy nature. Shy by Design promises to be a compelling and useful guide for introverts. Plagued since childhood by a stutter and debilitating social anxiety, the author pursued a career in sales to challenge those fears and rose through the ranks once he reframed his perceived weaknesses as strengths. Sharing lessons gleaned along the way, Thompson recommends that readers stop faking bulletproof confidence and instead approach others with kindness and honesty. Expand personal and professional networks by strengthening ties with acquaintances and colleagues, and learn from others' communication styles and strategies. Thompson's wisdom on building meaningful connections and amplifying personal impact is game-changing. This is a must-read for those who feel their quiet nature is a disadvantage. All of us can likely benefit from picking up Phil Stutz's Lessons for Living, What Only Adversity Can Teach You, in which he republishes many of the essays that once appeared in his now defunct Real Life newsletter. Each essay stands alone in its value and insight and could be read repeatedly to peel through the layers of his thinking. Unlike his book, The Tools, these essays feel more tangible and practical as to how to apply these concepts and tools to your everyday life. Sierra Rogers tells readers to just be themselves in the outsider advantage because you don't need to fit in to win. As the founder and CEO of a multi-million-dollar brand that caters to curvy women of all shades, worn by the likes of Kim Kardashian and championed by Beyonce, Sierra has rallied the very women the fashion industry is designed to ignore around the radical idea that what makes you different is actually your superpower. Soon it will be time to send the little people back off to school, so I wanted to round up some titles for teachers to enjoy in the meantime. First up is Here We Go Again by Alison Cochran. Two former childhood best friends, Rosemary and Logan, set out on a cross-country trip to fulfill their mentor's wish. Joe was Rosemary and Logan's high school English teacher who provided solstice, understanding, and a safe place for these two queer teens. Now, Joe is dying of cancer and asks his former students, who he also considered surrogate daughters, to drive him to his main cabin to die. The only problem is Rosemary and Logan now hate each other and cannot imagine spending days trapped in a car. Maybe more contemporary fiction than romance, this is the perfect sapphic road trip book to take you on an emotional adventure. With a friends to enemies to lovers trope and a remix on Tuesdays with Maury, have the tissue box handy for tears. But don't worry, the journey is worth it. Check out the link below for information on all the services that Denver Public Library provides for educators. Everything from teacher sets to library field trips. Less sad is Ashley Poston's A Novel Love Story. A professor of literature finds herself caught up in a work of fiction, literally. Eileen Merriweather loves to get lost in a good happily ever after, the fictional kind anyway, because at least imaginary men can't leave you at the altar. Then all of a sudden she is in Elorton, the very town at the center of her favorite series. How can that be? In The Wishing Game by Meg Schaffer, teacher's aide Lucy has received the invitation of a lifetime to stay on author Jack Masterson's private island and compete for a peek at the final installment and unpublished manuscript that will be his last. It could secure her future or upend it entirely. Folks have been waiting a long time for Michael McDonald's memoir, What a Fool Believes, to hit the shelves, and it is finally here. From falling foul of Ray Charles to writing with Burt Bacharach and singing with Steely Dan, McDonald, best known for his time with the Doobie Brothers, has led a fascinating, if addiction-fueled life. Some of the best passages in the book concern his long relationship with Donald Fagen and Walter Becker, not so much as the rock gods of renown, but rather as the comedy duo from the Catskills. They were funny, but they were also taskmasters, and later in his career, McDonald found himself being the same sort of perfectionist. For McDonald music geeks, the memoir is tidbit heaven. Reflecting its origins as a social commentary song, the working title of Taking It to the Streets was Falling Through the Cracks. An extensive discography at the end lists all of McDonald's credits. Who knew he sang backup on records by Wang Chung and Toto? If you go the audiobook route, you will be treated to MacDonald reading this himself. While they would have some 60s success in Europe, the Liverbirds have been sometimes viewed as just a footnote in Beatle history. That changes with, among other things, like a new album, the publication of a memoir written by the two surviving members of the Liverbirds, Mary McGlory and Sylvia Saunders, in The Other Fab Four, the remarkable true story of the Liverbirds, Britain's first female rock band. Life's Too Short, a memoir by Darius Rucker, is the story of his life as told through 23 songs that took him away, including releases from Frank Sinatra, Stevie Wonder, R.E.M., Kiss, Prince, and more. Rucker bears all in the process as the book details personal battles with drugs, racism, and his estranged father, as well as the early years of Hootie and the Blowfish. Bright Objects, Ruby Todd's debut, is set in the mid-1990s in Jericho, a small Australian town where the comet St. John is destined to make its closest, most stunning approach to Earth. Sylvia Knight, the town's mortician, is still mourning the accidental death 2 years earlier of her husband Christopher in a car accident caused by another driver who was never found. She is so profoundly depressed that she is considering taking her own life on the same night the comet is to appear. When the comet's discoverer, American astronomer Theo St. John, walks into the mortuary one day, Sylvia's life takes a turn. Sylvia and Theo begin to find connections through shared meals and trips to the observatory to view the comet. Joseph Evans, a local meditation teacher and heir of a wealthy family, sees the comet as a divine messenger and begins a series of mystical lectures that attract a cult-like following. While Sylvia is entranced by both the comet and its discoverer, she also responds initially to Joseph's appeal. Sylvia is a compellingly contradictory narrator, drawn to both stability and risk, and Todd places her in an equally complex community, a small town thrown off balance by its placement at the epicenter of comet viewing. Sarah Perry's novel Enlightenment is a story of hopeless love, tested faith, and wondrous science, all bracketed by two comets. The first of these, Hale-Bopp, appears in 1997, and the second 12 years later, while a celestial precursor in 1889 illuminates a mystery that seeps into the present. The novel traces the friendship between Thomas Hart, a local newspaper columnist, and a teenage girl in the church congregation, Grace Macaulay, who feels like a version of Perry herself as a bright, awkward, questioning young woman wrestling with the conflicting demands of her faith and the temptations of adolescent life. Responsible for tackling everything from fate to predetermination, black holes to planes of symmetry, true love to tea leaves, and everything in between, How to Tell Toledo from the Night Sky by Lydia Netzer is set against the Toledo Institute of Astronomy, the nation's premier center of astronomical discovery and a beacon of scientific learning for astronomers far and wide. Here, dreamy cosmologist George Durmont mines the stars to prove the existence of God. Here, also, Irene Sparks, an unsentimentalist scientist, creates black holes in captivity. And their mothers determined long ago that they would be soulmates. In case you missed it, Smother Moss. This book opens with a tight focus on two sisters who live with their mother and great aunt in Appalachian, Pennsylvania in the 1980s. Sheila, 17, does a lot of chores while her mother works long hours. She feels a heavy rope around her neck and down her back that appears merely metaphorical at first, and the biggest dream she can imagine is taking a trip to Baltimore with her secret crush, a girl at school who doesn't appear to notice her. Angie, 12, runs around the mountainside, fantasizing about fighting Russian invaders, frustrating Sheila by slacking on her share of housework, and constantly drawing arcane tarot cards, the tangle of rabbits, the twins with too many teeth, etc., that seem to hold special powers, including telling her where they belong once she's been pushed to create them. Then 2 hikers are murdered near the trail on the mountain, and the young sisters are caught up in the community's search for the suspect. But they are chasing other demons, some of which are invisible and some of which are not. This is rural Gothic tinged with fantasy, a strange and alluring lead from Alicia Erling. Sisters as well as cousins play a major part of Angela Slater's The Briar Book of the Dead, which is straight-on, supernatural, witchy fantasy. When magicless Ellie and her mega-magic cousin, Audra, take over the Briar legacy, strange things begin to happen. Reeling from one revelation to the next, she seeks answers from the long dead and is forced to decide who to trust as a devastating plot threatens to destroy everything the Briar Witches has sacrificed so much to build. Drawing deeply from Thai folklore, Salini Goldenberg's memorable romantasy debut, The Last Fae Hunter, takes readers to the Suraram Kingdom, where X works as a Fae hunter, a killer of ghosts and demons. During one of his missions, he meets Arinya, a mysterious 9-month pregnant master martial artist who requests his assistance. She needs to get through the ghost-infested woods to visit the local witch, who will perform a ritual on the soul of her newborn baby. As X and Arinya grow closer, he discovers her true identity and connections to Suraram's power players, raising the stakes of his promise to keep her safe. That's all for this month. Thanks for tuning into Denver Public Library's Friday 5 at 5, and we hope you enjoy these great reads and listens. Check out or place a hold on these titles and a whole lot more right now at denverlibrary.org, link below. Tune in next month for new recommended reads. Bye-bye.